everyone, and welcome to part 5 of my self-publishing journey. Today we are tackling the topic that ended up giving me so much grief I actually considered only publishing my novel as an ebook. Yes, it was indeed that bad. Just a tiny reminder, if you are here for the first time, then I will link the full playlist of all the previous topics in the description below, if you want to check out those as well. But yeah, let's get into it. As I mentioned in my video about the cover design process, the formatting should be the second to last thing you do before signing off your novel as ready to print. And it is, without doubt, the most annoying and boring part of the whole process, in my own humble opinion. I'm sure we have a couple of people here who are wondering what on earth is formatting and why is it such a hassle? So I'm just going to explain that real quick. When you look at a physical book, it is obvious that it's not just a printed Word document. It's been resized into the proper format, and that goes not just for the cover of the book, but the text as well. Let's just wait for the police to pass peacefully. No panic. No panic. The size of the text and the margins on the side fit nicely on the page. It doesn't hurt your eyes to read it, if you know what I mean. Ideally, you also want the end of a sentence at the end of the page so that a new page starts with a new sentence. That is because you want to avoid having a new page start with only 2 or 3 words before the sentence ends. It has to do with the flow of the text, and bad formatting can make for a far less enjoyable reading experience. It just feels choppy. When the formatting is good, however, you tend to not even notice it. And that's the main goal. As with the editing, there are different camps on this topic as well. Some self-published authors do their formatting themselves, while others pay a professional to do it for them. My original plan was to do it myself, and then I changed my mind. I mentioned the platform called Readsy in previous videos, and while that is an excellent place to find and hire professionals, they also have a free editing tool, which is quite neat. I used this tool to generate an ebook file, and that process was really simple. Sure, it didn't offer all the customization that I would have preferred, but it was so easy that I still found it to be worth using. So then I decided to start formatting the printing file, and that's when all the issues started. It became evident that Readsy only offers standard US formats, whereas my book is printed in Europe, more specifically Germany, and the company that I use to get my book printed uses standard European measurements. And it's not as simple as to just convert inches to centimeters, because you will always be a few millimeters off and the book will not look good. I don't even think it would be possible to upload the file if the measurements aren't 100% matching with the chosen format. So in other words, my plan failed, and I started looking into other possible ways to do this myself, and I found that there weren't really that many. There was one software that looked promising, but then that was only available for Mac. And other kinds of software that I looked into seemed to have a really steep learning curve, and I just didn't have the time and patience to try and master a new software. Especially knowing how bad I am at learning my own video editing software, I immediately knew that it would be a disaster. So then I looked into the possibility of doing it in Microsoft Word, but I was quickly dissuaded from that. Apparently, it shows when you formatted your book in Word, and I didn't want to jeopardize the quality of my novel. This was all happening in December, by the way, so 6 months ago. And my plan was to publish this spring. So you can imagine the situation being quite stressful. And by quite stressful, I mean very stressful. I'm one of those people who really dislikes it when things don't go according to plan. And I just felt like everywhere I looked, I was hit by a wall or some hindrance that kind of killed my motivation. That was also when I started to seriously consider only publishing as an ebook, as it would be so much easier. Eventually, I just gave in and decided to pay for the formatting services offered by Books on Demand, which is the publisher that I'm using. Sometimes it really is true that if you throw money on a problem, it goes away. I mean, I'm not a wealthy person, therefore I had not planned on paying for this service in my budget. But when you feel like your mental health is taking a toll because of an issue that can be easily solved, then I think it is worth it. And in doing this, I was also offered a bit more customization than I otherwise would have, like if I had used the tool on Readsy. So I added some ornaments on the chapter title pages to give it some extra flair. If you look at the cover, there are these lovely looking willow leaves at the top, and I asked my cover artist to extract those for me and make them into separate vector art, and then I added them into the document, like this. So in the end, I was very happy with my decision to pay for this service. I am clearly so happy with the end result and thankful that I didn't give up and skip the printed version. Personally, I feel like I was just a writer until the moment when I held my book in my hands for the first time. Then I was an author. And that was just such an overwhelming and powerful moment that I would highly recommend it to anyone thinking about self-publishing. If you can, then don't just do the ebook. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that was my jumbled and somewhat depressing experience with the formatting of my novel. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. For the next part, I will be talking about the costs of self-publishing. So all of those different steps that we've gone through up until this point, all of the prices and things collected into one. Also, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out so much. So, yeah. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back next time. And so does Niles, I promise.